This is a story not so long ago, which takes place in the Silent Sea, where a group of disappeared people reappear around them, and all kinds of weird things follow.
Uncle Hai, there are many dead bodies in the water.
Uncle Hai was resting, looked solemn when he heard this.
What is the state of the corpse?
It's hard to say. You come out and take a look. It's weird.
Jack shuddered and kept urging. Uncle Hai quickly came to the deck and looked at the water through the searchlight on the fishing boat, and sure enough, there were more than 20 dead bodies floating. A year ago, Uncle Hai's father was hired to go to sea to explore treasures and disappeared in the sea area. Uncle Hai went to sea to look for his father for more than a month, but there were no clues. The standing corpse may have something to do with his father's disappearance.
How so?
Uncle Hai frowned, looking at the sea water and falling into deep thought.
Uncle Hai, tell me, what happened to these dead bodies?
Jack gripped the side of the boat with both hands and swallowed with a grunt, his heart heavy. Uncle Hai said in a deep voice,
Bring the rope, I'll put a dead corpse up and take a look.
After saying that, Uncle Hai began to drag the fishing nets on the deck aside to clear an area. Jack called the crew to come over and get the rope, but no one paid attention to him, so he had to take the rope himself and hand it over to Uncle Hai, worried.
Could it be that the Sea Dragon team is fishing for our fishing boat?
Don't talk nonsense. There must be an undercurrent underwater. Let the mechanic hurry up and fix the motor, and when the boat has power, get out of here.
He reminded Jack. Uncle Hai's family has been a sea wolf for generations, and he can explore the sea to find treasures and tread the sea, and his familiarity with the sea is far better than that of Jack. There is certainly no Neptune underwater, but there are undercurrents. The crew is superstitious. Once the picker starts to sacrifice to the Sea Dragon King, no one is in charge of a ship more troublesome than anything. Uncle Hai quickly tied the wishful knot and threw it underwater, and sure enough, he caught a dead corpse. With the help of buoyancy, the corpse was exposed to the water with a bang. The dead bodies were almost all young men, soaked underwater for a long time, so swollen that they couldn't even make out their facial features. His hands and feet were gnawed by the sea fish to expose his bones, and he died a tragic death. But the moment the dead body came out of the water, Uncle Hai frowned, and an ominous premonition came to his heart. Suddenly, Jack shouted in a sharp voice,
Uncle Hai, there is a situation under the corpse.
The shouting startled Uncle Hai, who was highly concentrated. Suddenly, Uncle Hai found that there were many yellow tentacles on the corpse, gathered together, like yellow human hands one after another.
What is this?
It was the first time for Jack to go out to sea with Uncle Hai, and when he saw the orange tentacles like cow's hair under the dead corpse, he suddenly felt his scalp tingle when he had a dense phobia. Uncle Hai didn't answer, but first carefully dragged the dead corpse to the deck, squatted down and used an iron drill to pluck the tentacles on the corpse's body. Only then did he understand what these tentacles were.
Don't panic, it's a sea worm. It's poisonous and can't be touched, and touching it can make life worse than death.
The orange sea worm is only the length of a finger, resembles a thick earthworm, and is poisonous but not deadly. After touching it, the skin will be extremely itchy, and there is no cure, so you can only rely on your own immunity. Some of the crew members who were tricked couldn't help but scratch the flesh and skin, revealing bison's bones, which was extremely scary.
Don't touch the dead body, use a high-pressure water gun to wash away the sea worms.
After the dead body was successfully dragged out of the water, Uncle Hai also breathed a sigh of relief, dragging the dead body on the deck, reminding Jack not to touch it. Jack hurriedly used a high-pressure water gun to wash away the sea worms attached to the dead body. The recoil of the water gun was strong, and the thin Jack riveted enough strength to resist it. Uncle Hai borrowed the 1,000-watt searchlight of the fishing boat to carefully observe the dead bodies. Sure enough, he noticed something was wrong. The limbs and ribs of the corpse were shattered, as if they had been slapped into the sea from above. Or it can be hit by gravity to leave such a wound. The key is that he also has the unique sea wolf tattoo of the Uncle Hai family on his body. The dead bodies under the water were the people my father had brought out to sea a year ago, and they were all carefully selected. All of them were first-class sea exploration actors, and they had no significant external injuries on their bodies. Thinking of this, Uncle Hai's heart hung in the air, and a dark cloud hung over his heart.
Uncle Hai, who are these?
Jack's tone was trembling.
These are all people from our Hai family.
This is the water scorpion raised in their family, which is specially responsible for the physical work of going to the sea to explore the water or carrying treasures underwater. And the lung capacity is extremely large, and now they all die mysteriously in the sea. Hearing what Uncle Hai said, Jack was also stunned.
That means, what happened to your father near here? Are we in the right place?
Uncle Hai was silent. He wasn't 100% sure if they were in the right place, but the dead bodies were not the right ones. Now the sea is dark, and their ship has just broken out of the wheel. The power has failed, and the mechanics are still rushing to repair it. The ship's own battery didn't last long, and the navigation compass was broken, and they were blind in the sea until it was repaired. The appearance of the dead body proves that his father's ship was nearby. But there was no radar, it was dark again, and my father's ship might have sunk to the bottom of the sea. After pondering for a moment, Uncle Hai made a decision.
Push the dead body down.
Dead bodies cannot be left on the ship. It is summer, and the plague will be transmitted after the corpses decompose. Getting sick at sea, in the absence of adequate medicine, is worse than death.
No, Uncle Hai, why are the dead bodies under the water gone? It's still there just now.
After Jack pushes the dead body down with a harpoon, he shines a searchlight into the water, and finds that all the dead bodies standing under the water are gone. Uncle Hai quickly came to the side of the ship, and sure enough, there was nothing in the dark seawater. Suddenly, a cloud of doubt enveloped his heart. However, Uncle Hai found that the sea seemed to be moving.
No, it's us in the boat.
Uncle Hai was shocked. Their teal fishing boat lost power. The crew was still rushing to repair, and the ship after anchoring had a certain displacement on the sea surface, but the amplitude would not be so large. The rapid flow of water on the side of the boat proves that the boat is moving fast. Youth. Uncle Hai quickly came to the searchlight, snatched the searchlight from Jack's hand and shone it into the distance. Jack noticed that something was wrong.
Uncle Hai, our ship seems to be going backwards.
Uncle Hai knew that the ship was going backwards.
Drop anchor.
Uncle Hai shouted loudly. The crew threw the anchor into the sea with all their hands, but the water was too deep for the anchor chain dozens of meters long to catch the seabed and fix the hull.
It must be the Sea Dragon team.
These crew members often begged for a living in the sea. The so-called into the mountains and afraid of the mountains, into the sea and afraid of the sea, finally panicked, and began to get some pig's head and cow's head on the deck to worship the Sea Dragon King. Uncle Hai is worried that this is also the case. The wind and waves on the sea are easy to solve. Once people start to be superstitious, it will be a disaster.
Uncle Hai, what should I do?
Jack didn't want to die in the sea. He had already lost his master, so he just screamed for Uncle Hai to make up his mind. Uncle Hai calmed down, because there must be something underwater, dragging their teal fishing boat on the vast sea. This force is so great that if the fishing boats are dragged into the eye of the sea, then they will die with no place to be buried. The ship was going backwards, and it was fast. But the corpse remains in its original position, creating the illusion that the corpse has disappeared. There must be something under the water that is in the trawler. Illuminated by a searchlight, a clear shadow appeared on the tail of the teal fishing boat. The power of the towing teal boat is not underwater. but from a ghost ship on the surface. There were no workplace on the ghost ship, no figures in sight, and no roar engines could be heard. The more Uncle Hai looked at it, the more strange it became, and he always felt that something was wrong. Eventually, he realized the problem. The strange ship was almost identical to their fishing boat. The ghost ship also has the number Jianghai 66, which is exactly the same model as their teal fishing boat. Suddenly, a strange atmosphere enveloped everyone.